The American dream, a treasured ideal for our nation and a shining beacon of hope to people everywhere. The notion that through hard work and dedication, anyone has a fair shot at success in life has long stood as a calling to the rest of the world of what makes our country worthy of the title, Land of Opportunity. Making that American dream an American reality, however, can prove to be an arduous and difficult journey. And for my family, that was definitely the case. It was a path that was unexpected and surprising. And let me tell you how we've come to know the American dream. At the age of 6, my family had a garage sale. My mom was 8 months pregnant with my sister, and as we laid out tables and blankets full of stuff, I remember finding the whole experience novel and fun. I couldn't quite figure out why we were selling the Nintendo my dad had just gotten for Christmas the year before, but was nonetheless excited that we were the house in the neighborhood prestigiously selling our excess items. Like most kids on the poverty line, I didn't know that we were poor. And it wasn't until many years later I found out that garage sale was to help cover our $700 mortgage that month. We always had extended family and friends living with us, stood in line for government cheese, shopped at thrift stores, and used food stamps at the market. But I just figured that was the way life was and never really questioned what it meant on a larger social scale. We weren't the poorest of the poor, and we're far more fortunate than many. But I was in the dark when friends at school would reference shows from cable TV, talk about where they were going on vacation or what extracurricular activities they were involved in. When I would ask my parents of our financial standing, my mom would tell me tales of her youth with skipped meals and living in cars, and I would feel comforted knowing that we were at least wealthy in comparison to her upbringing. The ideal that everyone has an equal opportunity at success and prosperity through hard work, determination, and initiative is known as the American dream. And as I was growing up, this was not only a defining national character trait, but a familial one as well. During those garage sale years, my parents scraped everything together so that they could send my mom to college so that we could come out of poverty to live that American dream. In 1993, she graduated from the University of Nevada Reno, and by the time I started high school, we had moved out of that old tiny house and into a 2-story tract home that looked and felt like a mansion. My dad got his dream truck, and my sister and I started cheerleading. We went to San Diego on vacation, and for the first time ever, we stayed in a hotel and not with relatives or friends. It was a total paradigm shift and significant milestone for all of us. Career parents, nice cars, new house, pom-poms. We thought we were finally living that American dream. But the decades of manual labor were wearing on my dad, and my mom's high-power, high-stress position at an advertising agency was starting to give her heart palpitations and anxiety. My sister, 7 years my junior, was growing up in a different environment than I had. Where Friday night dance parties and backyard play with cousins and friends ruled my childhood, she was increasingly bogged down with extra activities and spending more and more time alone. We started fighting as a family and drifting apart. We were showing signs of depression and distress. What we thought was the American dream was turning into the American nightmare. Then, in 2003, my parents had their prayers answered. The little restaurant in Truckee, California that they had always dreamed of owning was for sale. So they did what any rational person would do. They cashed in their savings and retirements, quit their careers, called in every favor they could, and bought the little 45-seat breakfast-lunch restaurant called the Squeeze-In. Famous for the best omelets on the planet and full of character and charm, the Squeeze-In was exactly what our family had been waiting for. They had no idea what they were doing. But they knew, like Tony Robbins said in his TED Talk, that what matters more than resources is resourcefulness. And so they began learning the business from the ground up. Immediately after the purchase, I began working with my parents in the family restaurant, as did my sister, some of my aunts, and several of my cousins. We were working our tails off 7 days a week, then going home to bake biscuits, balance books, pay vendors, and wash aprons. But we were doing something together and having fun again, too. What we had stumbled upon was the not-so-secret secret of family business. The fact that you can incorporate your personal life into your economic necessity and end up spending your time with the people you love and care about the most. Everyone has to have an economic engine to fuel their lives. And for us, it makes sense to do something together and share an engine. A few years and many lessons later, we were ready to expand the business, and so my parents brought on my husband and I as partners to open a second location in my hometown of Reno, Nevada. Since then, the business and family have grown tremendously, and what continues to be at the heart of our growth is a profound appreciation for spending time together. There's a saying in small business circles that the best part about being a business owner is that you're in charge of your own time, meaning you'll get to pick which 16 hours of the day you have to work. And though it does come with steep commitments and different trade-offs, for us, this liberation of time and schedule have been absolutely essential. When one of the children is sick or injured, we can be there immediately. And with 3 kids under the age of 5, that's fairly often. If an emergency pops up at one of the restaurants, we can respond and react quickly. By having our family and business blended, both end up getting the best from us. And when things do come up, as they always will, our support group can pull together to solve the problem. Family business isn't for those afraid of taking risks or for those who can't handle criticism. And it's definitely not for those who have strained relationships. Trust me, I, and you probably do too, know plenty of families who should never, ever, under any circumstances, work together. Even for the most functional families, it's not all eggs and bacon. For example, when I was 27, I took over the presidency of our company and was in a training transition with the outgoing president, my mother. After 2 or 3 months, I was ready to take over, and she wasn't quite ready to let go, or rather, wanted things to be absolutely perfect before handing over the reins. And in business, well, there is no such thing as absolutely perfect. Needless to say, that wasn't the easiest of conversations, and now it's the big family joke that I fired Mom. Who's here today, by the way? Love you, Mom. Now, don't feel too bad for her, though. She had once fired me years earlier, and my dad rehired me a few hours later. So now we like to say, we're even. It can get tough when you have to give critical feedback to your sister or reprimand your cousin. Family dinners can be a little awkward when it's been a particularly rough day in the business. We've had our fair share of raised eyebrows and heated discussions, so it certainly comes with its challenges, but for the most part, we love it. When my aunt has a bad day and needs some encouragement, I'm not only helping one of my family members, but one of our managers as well. The biggest catering event in 2013, my sister's wedding. Family traditions become company traditions, and when our kids need a babysitter, it's the board chair and CEO, aka Gaga and Papa, on duty and happy to help. Company morale and family morale are practically the same thing, and our family is so infused into this business, the lines are blurred, they're practically non-existent. All those blurred lines mean a family business will always reflect the family's values, culture, and style. Strong family, strong business. Smart family, smart business. Hippie family, well, even a hippie business. Since we were always growth-oriented in our lives, naturally we took the same approach to business. And in the 11 years that we've had the squeeze-in, we've gone from 1 location to 5 and are now offering franchises to like-minded families and friends. We thought the American dream was years of toil offering careers with rigid schedules resulting in middle-class success. When we got there, we realized it wasn't all it was cracked up to be, and we had sacrificed more than we bargained for. What we really wanted was to be financially stable, of course, but above that, to be doing something meaningful together and having a positive impact on the people around us and in our community. The pillars of hard work, integrity, initiative, and good old-fashioned grit are what give the American dream its legs, substance, and power. But, and here's the part we had backwards, your why is so much more important than your what, or even your how. You could say I'm advocating a type of responsible nepotism, and I'd say you're absolutely right. You're smart. Wouldn't you like to spend more time with the people you love? Don't you want to help those that you care about? There has to be boundaries, strict ones even, but it's not only possible, it can be incredibly fulfilling and rewarding. We're doing our best to look out for the folks who would do the same for us, and as a result, our little tribe continues to grow and prosper. When we think about who we are and what matters most in our lives, certain people tend to top the list. Our parents, children, significant others, siblings, cherished friendships, loving relatives, the people that make up the fabric of our social existence and to whom we dedicate a great deal. Whatever it is you do, if it doesn't benefit your family, is it really benefiting you? Your answer might be yes and it might be no, but I think it's worth at least considering. We're certainly not the only family to have figured this out, and this definitely isn't a new idea, but it's one we didn't realize would impact our happiness so much. When I was the 6-year-old at the garage sale, I had no idea what the American dream was. What I did know was that I loved my family and the time we spent together, and what I've come to realize is that for us, that's the heart of our American dream. What is it for you?